one nation, one election.
One nation, one election.
In 2024, the world's biggest democracy, India, will hold what is likely to be one of the world's most costliest elections. Amidst this, on September 2023, the government has constituted a committee headed by former President of India, Ram Nath Kovind, in order to explore the possibility of one nation, one election. If India somehow implements the one nation, one election, it will only be the fourth country to do so after South Africa, Belgium, and Sweden. In this video, let us delve a bit into the history and understand the implications of one nation, one election and what has led to the widespread discontent and protests among the non-NDA states. The concept of one nation, one election in India aims to simultaneously hold elections for the Lok Sabha, that is the center, and the Vidhan Sabha, that is the states, including all state panchayat and municipality, either on a single day or within a specific time frame. The system of simultaneous elections existed in our country till 1967. The Congress, riding on the goodwill of being the architects of India's independence, won all the four elections till 1967. Before independence, there were 565 princely states and 17 provinces. Post-independence, the states were not the same as we see today. India at that time was made up of four types of states, which were Part A, Part B, Part C, and Part D. For example, Bombay, Madras used to be a separate states, and Hyderabad, Mysore, Cochin used to be princely states. After independence, there were many political movements, and populations speaking similar languages and dialects started demanding separate state for themselves. Accordingly, the States Reorganization Act was enacted on 31st August 1956, and the states were reorganized on linguistic basis. Some example of state formation were: number 1, Andhra Pradesh, formed by the merger of Telugu-speaking population of Madras with the Telugu-speaking population of Hyderabad state. Bihar being slightly reduced and a part transferred to Bengal. Madhya Pradesh, Vindhya Pradesh and Bhopal were merged to form Madhya Pradesh. The states got reorganized to 14 states and 6 union territories. Currently, India is divided into 28 states and 8 union territories. As new states started forming, regional parties focusing on regional problems and agendas started gaining importance. Following the reorganization of states, when the second round of simultaneous elections took place in 1957, the Congress won the Lok Sabha but lost the Kerala state to the Communist Party of India. Due to escalating political tensions, the central government invoked Article 357 and dismissed the state government in 1959. Fresh elections were held in Kerala in 1960, but the Lok Sabha elections were scheduled for 1962. In 1967, though Congress was in power at the center, 8 state assemblies were dissolved because of defecations and fresh elections had to be conducted, and state elections were no longer synchronized with the Lok Sabha. This is how the system of simultaneous elections ended. Since coming to power in 2014, Prime Minister Modi has been advocating for one nation, one election. The BJP has presented several reasons to support their argument. Number 1, reduced cost of elections. The Center for Media Studies, an independent research organization with a long history of studying election campaigns and expenditure, has reported that approximately 60,000 crores was spent during the 2019 Lok Sabha elections. Surprisingly, this amount exceeded the expenditure of the US presidential elections, which amounted to $6.5 billion. If all elections had been held simultaneously in 2019, the government could have potentially saved more than 20,000 crores. To provide an estimate of the number of seats in our country, we have 4,500 assembly seats, including Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, 500 municipality seats and 250,000 Gram Panchayat. The CMS report breaks down the various costs associated with the 2019 Lok Sabha elections into 5 categories. Number 1, direct money transfers. This includes freebies such as direct cash given to entice voters, television sets, alcohol, etc., amounting to approximately 20 to 25% of the total expenditure. Number 2, campaign and publicity. This category covers the costs of organizing rallies, social media campaigns, logistics like travel expenses, stage setups, helicopters, and more. This amounts to around 30 to 35%, roughly around 20 to 25,000 crores. Number 3, logistics. Nearly 20 lakh personnel of the police and central armed forces, 1.1 crore personnel from central and state governments and 150 special trains were involved during the 2019 Lok Sabha elections. This is approximately 8% of the total expenditure, translating to around 5,000 to 6,000 crores. Number 4, Election Commission or direct cost of voting. The Election Commission bears the costs directly associated with the actual conduct of elections, including manpower costs, polling stations, polling booths, the cost of electronic voting machines, transportation of manpower and instruments, etc. This constitutes about 20 to 25% of the total expenditure. And number 5, miscellaneous expenses. This amounts to around 5 to 10% or 3,000 to 6,000 crores. If simultaneous elections are held, campaigning and publicity costs and direct money transfer costs can be significantly reduced. According to N. Bhaskar Rao, a research-based analyst of public policies, Rs 10 lakh crore is the estimate for holding Lok Sabha assembly and local body polls together, which could be brought down by 3 to 5 lakh crore if voting period is reduced to just a week and parties strictly follow the model code. Number 2, focus on governance. With one election or the other taking place every 3 months, the BJP believes that simultaneous elections will help the ruling party focus on governance and reduce the disruption to the administration, which is detrimental to India's growth prospects. The model code of conduct is operational from the date on which the election schedule is announced until the date of the result announcement. During this period, the government is not allowed to announce any new projects or development work. Now let us look at the criticisms on the One Nation One election.
इलेक्शन कर दिया, कभी मत करना। मेरी तो मांग है 1 नेशन 20 इलेक्शन होने चाहिए। हर तीसरे महीने चुनाव होना चाहिए। हर तीसरे महीने चुनाव होगा, कम से कम ये कुछ तो दे के जाएंगे।
Number 1, attack on federal structure. Opposition say that India is a federation of states and simultaneous elections would overshadow local issues by national ones. This could potentially hinder voters' ability to make informed choices when selecting candidates, leading to confusion or overwhelming them. Now let us look at some historical facts to analyze this. India conducted both state and national elections concurrently until 1967. If the opposition statement were to hold true, then how could this period witness the rise of influential regional leaders like M. Karunanidhi, M. G. Ramachandran, Jyoti Basu, H. N. Bahuguna and N. T. Ramarao? In the recent past, politicians such as Mamata Banerjee, P. V. Narasimha Rao, Lalu Prasad Yadav, Deve Gowda and Ramakrishna Hegde transitioned to national politics. Even recently, in 2019, simultaneous elections were held in states like Andhra Pradesh, Arunachal Pradesh, Odisha and Sikkim along with the national elections. BJP secured victory only in Arunachal Pradesh, failing to win any seat in Andhra Pradesh. Therefore, concerns that one nation, one election would confuse or compel voters into making incorrect choices appear untrue. What is important is to ensure the conduct of free and fair elections by the Election Commission. If one nation, one election initiative is implemented, it would mandate that all elections occur at the predetermined time. However, a concern arises if a government collapses, for instance, after only 2 years. In such a scenario, President's rule would be imposed in the state. However, this cannot be a long-term solution as the purpose of imposing President's rule is to facilitate the election of a new government and restore democracy. This situation could potentially lead to a practice of horse trading or buying of MLAs or MPs to regain a majority.
The government claims that it's in the national interest. Do you agree?
Well, there's a problem. I don't know what the national interest is, considering the disparities in terms of geography and federal structure in India. It'll be impossible to implement.
In an interview with The Wire, Kapil Sibal argued that the One Nation, One Election proposal could create circumstances necessitating such unethical practices, thereby increasing political corruption and posing a significant threat to India's democratic principles. He further contended that only a political party with substantial financial resources, such as the BJP, might have the means to buy the support of legislatures. Sibal suggested the Modi government's underlying motive in pushing for ONOE is to establish a one-party mechanism. To conclude, the potential advantages of ONOE outweigh the potential disadvantages. One nation, one election could save the government a lot of money. Although it is true that the initial investment for procuring multiple EVM machines will be high, but the long-term savings will easily compensate for it. However, it is important to address the concerns about the centralization of power and the marginalization of regional parties before one nation, one election is implemented.